This is Alternate History 100. Welcome to the class.
Good morning. There have been a few attempts on the life of Donald Trump in the last 2 years. But today I want you to meet someone who would look at those attempts and say, "That's nothing. I had 8." And this woman, yes, woman, was such a badass that when would-be assassin number 2 got away, she let herself be used as bait in the hope that he would try again. And he did, and that time they got him. Who am I talking about? Anybody?
Indira Gandhi?
Oh, that's a good guess, but no. It was Queen Victoria. And I know you probably think of her as some grumpy old lady whose catchphrase was, "We are not amused." I think I just made her sound like Mrs. Doubtfire. The thing to remember about Victoria is that she became queen when she was just 18 years old. At that age, I was manning the gate in a parking lot. What were you doing? I'm pretty sure you weren't running an empire. She was queen for 64 years and presided over the greatest period of change the world had seen up to that point in history. But what if her reign was cut short? What if one of those assassins succeeded? On May 29, 1842, a bankrupt tobacco merchant named John Francis stood outside Buckingham Palace and fired at Queen Victoria. In our world, he missed his shot. But in that other world, his aim was true. The young queen died just 5 days after her 23rd birthday. Let's see what difference that made. First of all, it brought an infant to the throne. The monarch we know as Edward VII took the crown at the age of 6 months and 8 days. Obviously, he had a regent. That role officially went to his father, Prince Albert. But Albert was not loved in royal circles and was thus assigned the Duchess of Kent, Victoria's mother, as a minder to help him, which meant keep him on a short leash. The power of the throne declined during the regency as politicians sought to grab power while they could, and the young prince did little to help his own cause. He was a terrible student who threw things at his teachers, smashed windows in classrooms, and rarely did his homework. In today's world, he would probably have been diagnosed with ADHD. But in the 1840s, they just saw him as a willful child with a great need to be straightened out before he actually took the throne. One of the highlights of the Victorian era was the Crystal Palace exhibition, held in London from May 1st to October 11th, 1851. Essentially the first World's Fair, it housed displays of raw materials, machinery, manufactures, and art in a magnificent building made largely of glass, a historic first. It made a profit of £186,000, approximately £20 million in today's money. But it was strongly opposed in the planning stage and only happened because Prince Albert, a key advocate, had the Queen's ear, among other things. Hey, they did make a lot of babies. In the other world, Albert did not have Victoria's influence on his side. The naysayers won the day, and the great exhibition did not happen. But relax. The seeds of World's Fairs had already been planted in France. And they did go on to have full-blown events a little later than we did. They just had to wait longer for their corn dogs. But there was one important thing that spun out of the exhibition in our world that did not happen in the other one. It was at the exhibition where Victoria's daughter, Princess Victoria, met Prince Frederick of Prussia. They later married and had a son who became Wilhelm II, Kaiser of Germany during World War I. But in the world where there was no exhibition, they did not meet and they did not marry. Frederick chose another bride, and a different son came to the German throne. But that's not the only difference. In our world, Victoria had 9 children and 42 grandchildren. In the world where she was assassinated, 7 of these children and 28 of these grandchildren were never born. This created huge differences between that world's European royalty and ours. Her 3rd child, Princess Alice, was never born. The non-existent Alice never had a daughter named Alexandra. And the non-existent Alexandra did not marry Tsar Nicholas II. Nicholas married someone else and did not have children with hemophilia. This meant that the grifter Rasputin did not gain a toehold in the Russian court with his quackery cures and did not bring the scandal that he brought in our world. And there were a whole bunch of other royals in Spain, Sweden, Romania, and Greece, descended from our Victoria, who never existed over there. No wonder they called her the grandmother of Europe. Your assignment is to write 2,000 words on some aspect of this world without Victoria's long reign. With the Duchess of Kent passing in March 1861 and Prince Albert ailing, Edward took the throne at the age of 19. Was he ready? How did he do as king? Who did he marry? How did that affect the royal line? Did Britain and the world still have the same age of progress as we did? Who was the Kaiser who came to power in Germany instead of Wilhelm II? Did he cause their World War I to come sooner? Later? Not at all? Did the absence of Rasputin from the court of the Tsar delay or even prevent the Russian Revolution? I think that's a good start for you. Surely this was a case where 2 people, 1 queen and 1 assassin, made a tremendous impact on history. Class dismissed. Hi, I'm Gary Wheeler. Alternate History 100 is a labor of love with the twin goals of entertaining you and making you think. If you like what you heard today, please hit the subscribe button, give us a like, and tell your friends about us. Your word of mouth can really help this channel grow. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode. Until then, keep thinking and make some history of your own.
The preceding was a work of fiction and should not be taken as actual history.